The old woman did not scream. She did not run. That alone unsettled Gabriel more than any siren ever had. She stood near the edge of the dimly lit sidewalk, one frail hand gripping a torn grocery bag, the other raised in a strange, deliberate motion, two fingers pressed to her chest, then pointed sharply toward the alley behind her. It was not a wave, not a plea anyone would notice. But Gabriel noticed. His hands tightened on the handlebars of his Harley as memories slammed into him like a head-on collision. That signal. He hadn't seen it in over 30 years. Not since the war. Not since men learned how to ask for help without making a sound. The Hell's Angel behind him revved his engine impatiently, laughing about a bar fight waiting down the road. But Gabriel didn't laugh back. He cut his engine. Silence fell heavy. The old woman's eyes locked onto his, gray, shaking but sharp with urgency. Fear, yes, but also trust, as if she knew exactly who he was beneath the leather and scars. Gabriel dismounted slowly, boots hitting the pavement with a finality that made the alley seem to breathe. His presence filled the space, 6'4", arms roped with muscle and ink, a face carved by violence and regret. Most people crossed the street when they saw him. Some prayed, some ran. But this woman didn't move. Her hand dropped only when he gave a single nod. Behind her, the alley smelled wrong. Stale air, rot, something metallic. Gabriel's instincts screamed. He'd buried those instincts under years of outlaw living, but they never died. They only slept. He motioned subtly for his crew to keep riding. They cursed, flipped him off, but obeyed. Rank mattered. And tonight, something more important than rank had just surfaced. He followed the woman into the alley, every step measured. His fingers brushed the knife hidden at his waist, the one he swore he'd only use if hell itself crawled back for him. The alley narrowed, shadows thickening like oil. A flickering light revealed. A door ajar, an abandoned building, scheduled for demolition. The woman whispered, barely audible, "They're inside." Her voice trembled but didn't break. Gabriel nodded again. He didn't ask who. He didn't need to. He had seen this setup before, decades ago, in cities reduced to rubble, where screams were currency and mercy was rare. He signaled her to stay back, then pushed the door open. Inside, the air was damp and heavy. Footsteps echoed above. Male voices, one laughing, one angry, a third too quiet. Gabriel climbed the stairs without sound, every movement controlled, predatory. At the top, he saw it. Two men circling a younger woman pressed against the wall, her mouth taped, eyes wide with terror. One of the men turned just as Gabriel stepped into the light. The smile on his face died instantly. Before a word could be spoken, Gabriel moved fast, brutal, efficient. Years of violence came flooding back, not for pleasure, not for power, but for purpose. In seconds, the floor was stained with blood and regret. One man unconscious, one broken, the third trying to crawl away, begging. Gabriel didn't kill him. He didn't need to. Sometimes living with what you've done is the harsher sentence. When it was over, Gabriel ripped the tape from the young woman's mouth. She collapsed into sobs, clinging to him like a lifeline. He felt something crack inside his chest, something he thought was long dead. He wrapped his jacket around her shoulders and guided her outside, where the old woman waited, tears streaming freely now. She grabbed Gabriel's hands, her grip surprisingly strong. "I knew you'd understand," she said. "My husband taught me that signal during the war. He never came home, but he said, if I ever used it, the right man would see." Gabriel swallowed hard. The weight of that sentence crushed him more than any punch ever had. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called the police. Gabriel stepped back, already fading into the shadows. He didn't wait for thanks. He never did. As he mounted his bike, the old woman called out, "What's your name?" He paused, engine rumbling like distant thunder. "Doesn't matter," he replied. "Just tell people monsters aren't always what they seem." He rode off into the night before the red and blue lights could catch him. But as he disappeared, something followed him, something far more dangerous than the law. A truth, a reckoning, because what Gabriel didn't know yet was that saving that woman would pull him back into a life he thought he'd escaped forever, and what he would do next would shock even the Hell's Angels who feared his name. Gabriel did not sleep that night. He rode until the city lights thinned and the road stretched into darkness. The engine's roar, the only thing keeping the memories from swallowing him whole. Faces from his past rose uninvited, the men he buried, the brothers he lost, the promises he broke. But above them all hovered the image of the elderly, woman's eyes when she gave that signal. Not fear alone, hope. The kind of hope that assumes goodness still exists, even when the world has proven otherwise. Gabriel hated that feeling more than guilt. Hope was dangerous. Hope made you stay when running was easier. By dawn, he pulled into a forgotten truck stop on the edge of nowhere. He sat on the bike long after the engine died, fists clenched, jaw tight. His phone vibrated. One message. Then another. Then 5 more. The club had noticed his absence. When a Hell's Angel vanished without explanation, it meant trouble or betrayal. He ignored the calls until the final message came through. Short and cold, "We need to talk, now." Gabriel exhaled slowly. He knew what was coming. Acts like the one he committed last night didn't stay buried. Someone always talked. Someone always saw. And in a world built on violence, mercy looked suspicious. He turned the bike around and headed back, not to the clubhouse, but to the old industrial district where the elderly woman had led him. He didn't know. Why, maybe instinct, maybe fate tightening its grip. When he reached the alley, police tape fluttered in the wind like warning flags. The building stood sealed, evidence markers scattered inside. But the old woman was gone. So was the young victim. Gabriel felt a strange emptiness settle in his chest. He had acted. He had saved someone. And now, just like that, they were gone from his life. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. That night, a knock came at the door of the small motel room he'd taken. Not loud, not rushed. 3 slow knocks. Gabriel reached for his knife before opening it. Standing there was the elderly woman. Clean coat, fresh scarf, eyes calmer now but sharper than ever. She looked past him and stepped inside without asking. "I was hoping you'd come back," she said quietly. "Men like you always do."